Like the first white rapper y'all can remember ever listening to in your lives. What was your first white rapper? Mark, it might have been Eminem for you, but it definitely wasn't the first white rapper for me. It wasn't Eminem.
I'm trying to think. Does Fred Durst count?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't think it
Was that? Well, I wasn't listening
He's a rapper. Like Fred Durst, in some ways, could be an MC, but he's not an MC. Not to me, at least.
I think it would be Eminem then. At least from what I've seen in elementary school and middle school, the way that it took over a lot of our white friends. At least to me, that was like literally a god moment to the white friends that I had back in Stratford.
My first white rapper was Snow, Informer.
Informer. Yeah,
you didn't really like Informer though, did you?
Informer was kind of a big deal back in the day. I thought
he was Jamaican. Was he white Jamaican?
Was he? That nigga white. Hold on.
No. He knows white Jamaicans for sure.
Yeah, there's white Jamaicans. There's white Jamaicans. That blew my mind going to Jamaica back in the day. I was like, why are you here?
He's Canadian.
Damn. I mean, they want to be white Jamaicans. The black ones even.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of are. Like, when the Canadians do the Jamaican thing, I'm like, y'all crazy. Like, y'all not the Caribbean, but y'all just do the Jamaican accents.
That's their culture.
It's mad Jamaicans out there, though.
The culture when you're not Caribbean.
There's mad West Indians. There's mad West Indians out there.
Yeah.
To have an event as big as Caravana, I don't think that's just white people being like, yeah, let's throw a West Indian festival.
I just don't know how that's your culture when you're not actually Caribbean. Is that possible? Maybe it is. Well, I guess because I'm not Hispanic, but I guess Mexican Chicano culture is a part of my culture. I guess.
I mean, it permeates. I think if there's like a certain percentage of people out there, I feel like California, we like 55%. Would you say, or at least half and half, Mexican American or Latino to white, black, all of that stuff. Like I would say it permeates. I don't know the breakdown in Canada, but like I would imagine like to Mark's point, like if they had Caravana and people from the West Indies and Jamaica had an issue with it, they would definitely assess some shit, but don't nobody say nothing about it.
The Caribbean, it's just the way they talk sometimes. Just a little, like, I'm like, come on, man. Like, come on.
But it was Snow, and I'm not gonna lie, Marky Mark, bro, and the Funky Bunch.
Oh yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
That's showing your age. That nigga said Marky Mark.
Come on, Marky Mark, Vanilla Ice. These were white rappers back in the day, but it was like these are white rappers that, like, other than Vanilla Ice, some of them never really broke through in the same way Vanilla Ice did. And when Vanilla Ice got found out and then he got pressed, there was a drought. And there wasn't really no white rappers out. There wasn't really nothing happening. We had like MC Search and all them other niggas, but they wasn't really like making moves like Eminem did. So when Eminem hits, this is like TRL era. Like, my name is, when he's dressing up as Marilyn Manson, it's like at that point we hadn't seen nothing like that, especially with Dr. Dre, who was himself just leaving Death Row, just trying to kind of find himself. That was a big moment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's funny when I remember when like Eminem hit, and it was like it didn't even feel. He was a white rapper, and it definitely was like shocking to see a white rapper, but it like he felt so much a part of culture. Yeah. That it was like you just had no reason but to root for him. Like, I think a lot of white rappers before him felt a little bit outsiderish, even if they were, like, not MC Search. I feel like they were part of the culture. But Beastie Boys, yeah. MC Search, like, those groups were very much a part of hip hop. So even though they were white, they still felt like us. Yeah. But then you have Vanilla Ice and you had Marky Mark and like some of these people who felt like you were looking at them rather than they were with you.
Right.
Eminem kind of had that feeling where it's like, oh, that's one of us. And that shit was polarizing. Like, just the look, bleach blonde hair, like white tee, like just the fuck you attitude. It was oh shit.
I remember hearing about his name for the first time, and I was like the candy, like back in the day, it was literally like, how is this spelled? Obviously this is like a homonym for his initials, but it was like that is actually, and that also goes to some of his genius too. Is that like a lot of his career is like him making fun of things that are in plain sight, and I think he talks a lot about it on this album too. And I think in Eminem Show, which we're going to talk about a little later, he's very much pointing the mirror at himself and like pointing at himself and saying like these are the things that are wrong. But it was kind of crazy to see someone that was not only candid but also such a shock value artist. I think something Eminem did was he woke people up to, like, it felt like NWA again. in 1999 when he was out, and there was so many people. Have you ever remember the MTV special report when Slim Shady LP came out, and there was people dumping his CDs on the parking lot ground in front of Tower Records out here, and they was like burning, they were stomping it.
The bulldozer or the steamroller, whatever that was. You know what's crazy? The thing about Eminem, he perfectly coincided with the Attitude Era of WWF.
Yeah.
And like he personified what Steve Austin was in wrestling. Yeah. So like it was a perfect storm for like teen angst and being like fuck you, and like it's just like like DX, and just it was all the perfect time to be on that. And he took advantage of it perfectly, man. Like he was like the rapper you listen to rebel and like hear curse words and crash shit. They're like where other rappers kind of cursed and did all that stuff, but it still came across like not as rebellious. Yeah. His shit was pure rebellion.
Yeah, it was the good and bad of what America was at the time. The good of just like, you know, the Steve Austin middle finger flipping, smacking the shit out of your boss, but then also the bad of like 1999 of like the Columbine shootings, and they tried to put that on to somebody like Eminem, somebody like Marilyn Manson, and that ended up being one of the things that upset him the most.
Yeah, I mean, it was that. It was, I mean, scandal politics wise. It was Bill Clinton, the Monica Lewinsky stuff. He talks about that a lot in those first two albums. There's like deaths that happened at that time, Versace's death, all types of stuff that was going on that he talks about, he references and stuff like that. Like that was just permeating in the 90s, like OJ, all like the 90s was a lit ass decade. When you like look back at it, all of the shit that he talks about on these albums are like deep cut references, and they almost feel like a time capsule. And in some ways they feel like a time capsule here is the early 2000s. He talks about Bush and stuff like that, which we'll talk about in the album as well. But Slim Shady LP went to another level where it's like, okay, he is playing a character. And I think that was something that he was trying to get across on interviews at that time as well, was I'm playing a character. Slim Shady is kind of the alternate me. And one thing that Josh, actually, you brought up a while ago on the show was the CD, the actual CD of Slim Shady LP. It was a Vicodin pill. Yeah. And that was, again, goes to what you guys were both saying. We hadn't really heard about pill popping and shit like that. It was weed, and it was like, that was it. Like, niggas was not really, 3-6 Mafia was talking about sniffing and shit like that, but no one was really talking about it. Like, but you know, that was underground still. Like, Eminem was mainstream talking about popping pills and stuff like that. Like, that wasn't heard of at that time.
I'm surprised they haven't put the opioid addiction and just that era on him. Because, like, he was the very first. And, like, when you look at it, that's just big in the Midwest and Detroit, Kentucky. Like, that ain't really, like, I mean, it is to some degree a coastal drug because now it's just so big. But opioids was really big in the middle of America. And, like, that was his stronghold, his stomping grounds.
Oh, yeah, Middle America. I mean, not only that, but it was, like, Middle America. And it kind of, like, crossed over into, like, I looked at, is it weird for me to say, like, I looked at a lot of Eminem fans as like people who like were kind of lower income people too, that were like kind of eating this up. I mean, like, yeah,
when I think of the Eminem fan, I think of a trailer park and a dirty wife beater. I don't know why. Like, I just anytime I think about him, I think about trailer parks because it's like even the idea of trailer parks. Like,
yeah,
I didn't really know what a trailer park was until Eminem came out. I'm like, oh, this is real? People live in these motherfuckers? Like, for me being on the West Coast, I had never seen a trailer park. I always seen them on wheels.
Yeah.
Yo, okay, yeah.
The only trailer park I ever seen in my life for real was like in Malibu, and I was like, I saw that in high school. So just thinking about when Eminem came out, I'm like, huh? Like, people live there, and like that's like their upbringing. So it was just. He definitely personified broke whites, poor whites.
It was also, it go back to WWE too. Like, I heard trailer park trash from Steve Austin and Eminem. Those are the two people I heard trailer park trash from. Like, I was like, white people got their own version of nigga too. It's trailer park trash. Like, that's what it is.
But it's ironic. It's ironic. There was a lot of money in there. He made plenty of bread off the trailer parks.